I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share it with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars ain't...
What's good? We're going to get into AEW Dynamite from July the 22nd, 2026. This was a pretty boring and bland show. This was the go-home show to this Sunday's Redemption, and we will go over predictions for AEW Redemption. Not much happened on this show, for being honest. But hey, such is life, so whatever. The releases for WWE are up. So the people who were released in the last batch of releases they had, they are now free. Maybe we'll see the New Day at All In, which that needs to happen. They should bring them in. Tony Khan should definitely bring them in, as well as Kairi Sane. Everyone else that was released, like Aleister Black, Zelina Vega, the Wyatt Six, and others, they should go to TNA, MLW, NWA, stuff like that. That's just where most of those guys should be. The only three people that Tony Khan need to bring in would be the New Day and Kairi Sane. He doesn't need to bring in the Motor City Machine Guns. There's no need. Even if they do a Dynamite or Collision in Detroit, there is no need to bring them in. It's just no need. It makes no sense, because why? Because then you're going to turn around and just a month later, you're going to bring in the New Day. There's no need for that. I think that the New Day has more value and would bring more value to the tag team division for AEW than the Motor City Machine Guns would. The Motor City Machine Guns should just return to TNA and work the indies and be fine doing that, if we're being honest. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this show. So we kicked the show off with Kenny Omega, Jon Moxley, and Will Ospreay. They're all just chatting and stuff and everything else. That's all that they're doing. They didn't really say much of anything. They all hyped up the main event, which was awful. So whatever. Moving on from that, this leads us into the first match of the night. Kevin Knight defeats Darby Allin to retain the TNT Championship. This match was very fun. I actually liked this because I'm a fan of both guys. Darby Allin did Darby Allin things. Darby ended up doing a cut rated on the outside. Kevin Knight ended up doing a beautiful moonsault in this match. So Darby ended up trying to go for a Scorpion Deathlock, and Kevin Knight was able to get out of that. Then I think the Don Callis family came out and they distracted the ref or whatever. This allowed for Kevin Knight to hit Darby with the belt. He ended up hitting a coast to coast, which was beautifully done, followed by the UFO splash for the 1, 2, 3. So that's fine. It makes sense. It is what it is. So Kyle Fletcher, he shows up and he has some words with Kevin Knight. So Kyle Fletcher's fired up. He's on fucking 10. And he just starts yelling. He just says, hey, look, I'm going to tell everyone in the Don Callis family to stay back. And I want them to do the same on Sunday for his match. And the same for when Kevin Knight takes on Kenny Omega. So, that's fine there. Again, I'm not a fan of the Don Callis family because they're a bunch of bums. The only ones I like in there are Kyle Fletcher and Kevin Knight. Mark Davis is okay, but he's not really going to do much of anything. He's just there just to be there, honestly. Whatever. I don't care. Moving on. Kyle Fletcher and Kazuchika Okada, they defeated Bandito, and Brody King. didn't really even watch this match because I just didn't care. I mean, again, I'm a fan of all these guys involved. I really am. It's just, I just didn't want to watch it. I just didn't care. So, actually, my bad. I'm sorry. Brodito, they won the match. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. So, basically, Bandito ended up hitting the 21 plex onto Kyle Fletcher, and he got the win that way, which is fine. So, Kyle Fletcher, he's pissed off at Okada, says that he lost because of him. So, Okada then scurries up the ramp. So, Bandito stares down Kyle Fletcher. So, then Don Callis sends out Mark Davis to the ring. Then Andrade shows up. Andrade Idolo. How you know? He shows up. And, man, that's getting over so much with these crowds, man. Even in Nashville. And Nashville has always been kind of a casual audience. Always has been. So, yeah. I mean, Andrade is massively fucking over with that. I mean, it's great. Andrade is great. I love me some Andrade. Moving on from that, this leads us into a video package looking at Chris Jericho and Tommaso Ciampa and everything else. So whatever, who really cares about that? I don't. I'm pretty sure that the Jericho probably just has going back to WWE on his mind, and when his time is up in AEW, he would definitely go back to WWE, be inducted into the Hall of Fame, probably do a few matches, and then be done, Because this Tommaso Ciampa thing is not working out, in my opinion. It's just not. I mean, it's fine. Like, Tommaso should have been Jericho's first feud when he got back, and I don't know why they didn't do it then instead of waiting to do it now, but whatever. Moving on, this leads us into Willow Nightingale and Tekla. So they were on the ramp. So Tekla came out first along with the Triangle Madness. She said that she's Tekla 2 belts. So then Mick Foley, he introduces us to Willow. She gets a really, really good reaction. She hugs Mick. And he says that it's great to see her. So Willow says it's not only great to see Mick, but everyone here tonight, even Tekla. So Willow says that there's only one match standing between her and achieving her dream. She says she'll take the world title from Tekla. So Tekla, she mocks this, and she says that Willow is just full of rainbows and smiles, but she knows it is a farce. She said that she puts on a brave face and smiles, but she knows that Willow has venom inside. Tekla says she's going to beat that out of her, and she'll see who's really behind the mask. Willow says that Tekla and her toxic gimmick is a facade. She makes fun of Tekla's accent, which was hilarious. She said she talks so big because she's so small. But it's gotten you 2 belts. But she's only worried about the women's world title. And you're just a shortcut to me winning that. So Mick has to keep the ladies separated. He says that Willow and her have a lot in common. They've been champions on on TBS. They have been beaten up and smiled through it anyway. He says that although he's sure that Willow's smile has had more teeth than his did, Tekla tells Mick to shut the hell up. And Willow tells Tekla is talking like the dumb bitch now. Willow says that Mick did some sick and twisted things in the ring and stuck in Willow. She's putting all her blood, sweat, and tears into this match. Willow wants to know... my bad. Tekla wants to know if Willow just stole her line by using, the dumb bitch line. Tekla says that Willow can keep smiling after she's pissed on her clouds and make her stop smiling. So Tekla then throws a cheap shot. Then she hits Willow in the ear around Mick's back. So she hits her again. Willow rolls down into the ring. Tekla takes out both her titles and mocks Mick. Then she takes her actual belt off, and then she proceeds to hit Willow. Willow hits the pounce, standing tall to close the segment. That's fine. This was okay, I guess. It should be an interesting match. I am actually looking forward to this because I'm a fan of both Tekla and Willow. So I do like this. This is great. What is not great was this next match. Jay White defeated Clark Connors. Who cares about this nonsense? It's not even that important. Whatever. I don't care about this at all. It makes no sense. Jay White won via some type of submission. I wasn't really even paying attention to this shit. So whatever. So Jay White drops Clark Connors with the Blade Runner. So David Finlay shows up. He attacks Jay White with the shillelagh. The Bang Bang Gang show up to make the save. So whatever. I don't care about this shit at all. This is lame. This is lame as fuck. Moving on. Edge and Christian, they're backstage. Edge says that they finally got on the same page as the Bang Bang Gang last week. Edge says that they've also challenged Claudio Castagnoli and Pac, and then the Death Riders, Pac and Claudio, they jump and attack Edge and Christian and lay him out and everything else. So there's that. Pac says that he can't believe that they had the audacity to challenge them. Pac says they've bitten off more than they can chew, and they will remind them what the Death Riders are capable of on Sunday. I don't care about this at all. Who really gives a damn? Moving on, Divine Dominion, they defeat the Sisters of Sin. I don't care about this at all. This is just a typical balls to the walls, no DQ match, whatever. Broken tables, chair shots, all that jazz. Didn't care about it. Again, Divine Dominion, my bad. The Divine Dominion, they retain. So, yeah, whatever. Who cares? Moving on, this leads us into the Bang Bang Gang. They're backstage. So, Juice Robinson, his sorry ass, challenges the Dogs to a double chain match against him and Jay White. Jay White says the Dogs can't run at Redemption, and they'll make men out of them yet. I don't care. Main event of the evening, which was a 6-man tag. Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, and Jon Moxley, they defeat the Don Callis family in the form of Brian Cage, Hechicera, and Jake Doyle. I don't care about this because I really didn't even watch this. Post-match, a massive brawl ensued, and Kenny Omega was about to go for the V-trigger, a double V-trigger, taking out Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero, but Kevin Knight showed up and hit Kenny Omega with the title belt out of nowhere, which was beautifully done. And Kenny Omega begins to bleed. He's busted open, and then Kevin Knight poses with both of the titles, and that was it. I don't care about this at all. This was lame. This was absolutely fucking lame. This show just wasn't good, so it is what it is at this point. I don't care. I really don't. Again, it would have been better if AEW would have just made Redemption actually be a Dynamite special, and you could do night one on... Actually, no, you can make it like a 2-week special. Do night one on Dynamite, and then do night 2 on the next Dynamite. That's what I would have done. No collision, anything. Just strictly Dynamite. And that's what I would have done, so whatever. But I don't give a shit about that at all. So who really cares? All right, let's go ahead and get into predictions for Redemption. So Redemption takes place on Sunday, July 26th, in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. The venue is going to be the Bell Center. It can hold between 10,000 to 14,000 people full capacity. So for concerts, it's $15K. For ice hockey, it's $21K. So, for that. And then for theater, it's like $5K to $9K, which is pretty decent. They'll probably get out a good 8 to 10K people to show up, which, because Canada is still a decent market that all three major companies use, WWE, TNA, and AEW. So they all three use Canada. And it's a pretty good market for everyone involved, right? So, there's that. They should be able to get at least a good, I'm going to say between 8,500 people out to at best maybe right at 10,000. Because this is a weak show, though. But I think that people will come out nonetheless anyway. So, whatever. There are 10 matches on the card. Oof. So, hopefully we get 2 matches on the pre-show. Well, my bad, 0 hour. And then we will get 8 on the main card. But it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and get into this. So, the Bang Bang Gang, Juice Robinson and Jay White versus the Dogs double chain match. David Finlay and Clark Connors. I'm going to go with the Bang Bang Gang winning. I don't care about this at all. Moving on. We're going to be getting a 6-way ladder match to determine the number 1 contender for the AEW International Championship, which is weird. So it's going to be the Beast Mortos, Jack Perry, Commander, Speedball Mike Bailey, AR Fox, Nick Wayne, Leo Rush, and I think maybe El Clone. I'm going to go with probably Jack Perry winning because they want to push him for whatever reason. I don't fucking know. Either Jack Perry or Leo Rush. But it's probably going to end up being Jack Perry winning this whole match. Who gets a damn? Moving on. Hikaru Shida versus Maya World for the AEW TBS Championship. Hikaru Shida's going to win. Why would she lose? She just won the title like 2 weeks ago, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. Whatever. Moving on. The Death Riders. Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. I don't care about this. This should take place on Dynamite or Collision. Because that's what it feels like. That's what most of these matches feel like. None of these matches are worth paying $50 for. It's absolutely pathetic. Again, this shit is going behind a fucking paywall. I'm going to go with the Death Riders winning. Why would they lose? Moving on. Sticking with tag teams. Edge and Christian versus the Death Riders in Claudio Castagnoli and Pac. I'm going to go with Edge and Christian retaining. Why would they lose the AEW World Tag Team Championships? They probably won't lose them until All In anyway. Moving on. A match I'm looking forward to, which should be kind of fun, is Kyle Fletcher versus Bandito for the AEW International Championship. I'm going to go with Kyle Fletcher retaining. The match should be good and fun between Bandito and Kyle Fletcher. It's probably going to be one of the matches of the night, so whatever. Moving on. Chris Jericho, a.k.a. the Painmaker, versus Tommaso Ciampa, No Holds Barred. Chris Jericho's going to win. Who cares, though? Moving on. Andrade El Idolo versus Mark Davis for the AEW National Championship. I'm going to go with Andrade winning that. Moving on from that, Tekla versus Willow Nightingale. This should be a good match for the AEW Women's World Championship. I'm gonna go with Willow Nightingale here. I like Tekla, but just give it to Willow, and that way we can get Mercedes versus Willow on the biggest stage the AEW has to offer on their biggest show of the year. I still think that they'll probably end up doing like a triple threat match for the AEW Women's World Championship anyway. So I'm going to go with Willow Nightingale winning. Moving on from that, main event of the evening, Kevin Knight versus Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship. Kenny Omega is going to retain. And so those are my predictions. But Dynamite was boring for the most part. Nothing really happened on the show. Total filler. And it is what it is. Hopefully they can pick up some momentum after Redemption, because they don't have long. Once Redemption is over, they literally have 5 weeks to give us whatever remaining build that they're going to do for All In. And that's it. Just 5 weeks after Redemption. So whatever. Hopefully Redemption can go off the air at least by 11 or at least 11:30 at least. But knowing Tony Khan, he's going to book everything until probably 12:30. So whatever. It is what it is. But what do you guys think of Dynamite, and what are your predictions for Redemption? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.